This is Summer Huntington of Shala and Still Mace Vinyasa, and today I'll be showing you a demonstration of neck and shoulder mobility to prime your body. Most humans have adapted to having their head forward for long periods of time, either typing on a phone, typing at a computer, sitting and driving. And what happens when the neck deviates forward is it actually flattens out. It loses its natural curve. When this happens, it is definitely not ideal. It's going to lead to pain in the neck. It's going to lead to arthritis. So super important to make sure that you get your neck mobility in on the daily. So I'll walk you through a basic neck mobility drill and then we'll transition into shoulders after that. So when you're doing neck mobility, very important that you start with your feet hip distance apart. Your alignment matters here because you're holding your skull, your heaviest part of your body, over your shoulders. And if your alignment's off, everything is going to be interconnected and affected along the entire kinetic chain. So starting with feet hip distance apart to rip the ground apart and basically load your feet evenly so that you can take a lot of the load in your glutes and lats. Then you'll draw your shoulders up, down, and back, knit and corset your abdominals in, lengthen in the back body, and then think about pulling your skull up and back here. So most people kind of land here, kind of hunched over. We have to first right the spine, get everything aligned so that the knees, the hips, the shoulders, and then the neck are all in a line. Generally, that requires lifting the chin. It's a cue that I often am cueing at my workshops and seminars and with my private clients is lifting the chin and creating a long front of the neck. So once you're there, stand kind of diagonal here so you can see. Press the palms into the sternum to traction the fascia down here. Lift your shoulders up, down, and back to begin, and lift your skull up, again, chin lifted before you begin. From here, neck slide forward, neck slide up and back, tractioning up. So the first degree of freedom here, we're working on just a surging and heaving pattern. Surge is moving forward, heave is moving up. There are some aviation terms to describe movement patterns. So generally I'll aim for about 5 to 10 of these. Then I move into neck translation side to side. This is a really challenging one for most folks, but it's so imperative to a healthy neck and to maintaining that natural S-curve in the spine. So if you don't have the mobility to do that side to side translation, it's not a tilt, it's actually a slide, then you'll want to cut the difference between the forward action and the side action. So it looks like this. It's like 45 degrees to the right or left, 45 degrees to the other side, just kind of cutting the difference. And then over time, you'll find that neck translation, that movement side to side, can be restored. Once you've established your forward and back, your side to side or diagonal side to side, then you can put it into a circular pattern to start shaving off immobility and increasing synovial fluid and increasing ground substance into the fascia, which is going to overall decrease your pain. So we go forward, we go to one side, we go back and up, and then the other side. Forward, side, back, other side. Just hit the four corners at first, and then over time you can start to smooth out the circles. You might hear some cracks and pops, totally normal here. And then come back to center. Switch the placement of the hands. The hands here provide an anchor so that my shoulders can get into a neutral scap position and actually lock down. If I do my neck mobility from a rounded forward position, it's really not going to do much here because I'm reinforcing the head forward, which I don't want. So I get my scapula in a neutral position, I line it up, everything's lined up, I tear the ground apart, I generate torque, my whole body, switch the placement of my hands, go in the opposite direction, front, side, back, side. So first staccato, hitting the four corners, then a smooth circle. I can hear my own fascia just making little cracks and pops as I move through, getting the calcium deposits in the fascia and in the connective tissue to start to dissipate. Next, lateral bending. So a lot of folks will, when they lateral bend, they'll just kind of crunch their ear down. Don't want to do that. Instead, you want to keep a long neck. So I find length in my skull first, and then I reach the ear down, and I'm actually pulling from the opposite side here. Place the hands in the sternum, deep inhale, tractioning up. On the exhale, soft knee bend, right the skull, and then switch sides. Inhale. On the exhale, notice I'm coming to a neutral skull, and then I'm switching sides to just practice that proprioception and shock absorption as I transition. Versus dropping the head here, reinforcing that unwanted flexion. Instead, I'm training my skull to come back to neutral and then laterally bending. Once you've established a good lateral bend on each side, try adding, so you got the lateral bend, little length here, not a crunch, but a little length, add rotation. So it's rotation and extension. It feels so good. Try it out. Chin down, rotate the ear down. Now we're in lateral bend plus rotation plus extension. 3 ranges of motion. Chin down, ear down, lateral bend, rotation, extension. And when you put them together, it looks like this. It's a figure 8. So good for the neck. But you want to make sure that you're going slow and not sloppy. It's really important to pause, find that end range, hang out a little bit, adjust yourself if you need to. So that is my cornerstone joint mobility drill that I use all the time with my private clients and priming my own neck. I want to keep that healthy curve. The next mobility drill, when you're using Mace or clubs, is to move through your shoulder mobs. So similar to the neck, you've got multiple ranges of motion. You have retraction and protraction, squeezing shoulders together, rounding shoulders forward. So the first drill that we do is chest expansion, pulling the hands back, and then gunslinger, pointing the arms forward, pointer fingers forward, thumbs crossed. Inhale, arms back, exhale, forward. So I really like to pair the neck mobility and the shoulder mobility together, because if we just do one, we're not really getting the full effect. So when we pair them together, we can start to decrease that tension in the upper traps that really leads to like headaches and stress and just a whole bunch of unwanted things in your workouts as well. So we've got our forward and back, right? Now we have our side to side. So in side to side action, just like our cervical spine can slide and glide and it can laterally bend, creating space between the vertebra, if you want to isolate the slide and glide, it's a little more tricky because we're not often asked to move in that slide and glide fashion. But super imperative for your spine health and to keep pliability and elasticity in the fascia and to prevent the really bound and stuck fascia. Basically, when you feel a knot and it gets inflamed, we don't want that. So we want to learn to slide and glide, laterally tilt. All right, so to slide and glide, you have to really tune into your mid back, and it's basically shifting your shoulders over your hips just a little bit incrementally. Sometimes taking a longer lever, making it more of a task where I'm like reaching and reaching. But what we don't want to do is a side bend for this one. See how there's a different angle of my head here? I want my head to point up and then I slide right and left. Then, once I've established that sliding action, right and left, I can move into a circular pattern. Front, side, round, other side. Extension, this is where my arms were back here. Slide, translation, round the back, slide to the opposite side, and then put them in a circle. Generally, when I have clients do this for the first time, they move like this. The axis or the point of rotation, the fulcrum rather, is in my lumbar spine when I just do kind of a sloppy circle like that. I'm isolating my thoracic spine to get it to move in new ways so that I maintain mobility in the thoracic spine. You can switch directions. It's always helpful to try the staccato first, hitting all 4 corners, front, side, round the back like in Gunslinger, hit the other side, and then you can smooth out your circles here. Now that you've warmed up the thoracic spine, it's time to introduce your shoulder mobility drills. So we've got chasing shoulders, elevation, depression, elevation, depression. When we put those 2 movements together, we can find fluidity in a circular motion, chasing the shoulders back, kind of like you're feeding or pulling rope, or pushing the hands forward. Elbows are straight here. It's a dead giveaway when you're not using your shoulders if your elbows bend and it kind of looks like this. So we want to really have the movement originate from the scapula, packing the shoulders, glutes engaged, skull is upright here. And then the last shoulder mobility drill, shoulder screws, my favorite. When folks are first starting out, if you have pain in your shoulders, you might want to start with just taking your arms out like a goalpost and going into palms facing down and then palms back, palms facing down, horizontal, and then goalpost arms. This is a great place to start, and you might, if you have shoulder pain, you might even start down here, right? So beginners, just open up from elbows to ribs to palms facing down, bring the goalpost up, bring the goalpost down to parallel, and then bring it beyond. Once you've established that, you can try shoulder screws. Elevate, rotate, screw the shoulder down and in, unscrew, pack the shoulder. Elevate, rotate, screw the shoulder down, and unscrew. So we're here. And oftentimes, folks will just wring out the shoulder and they'll just move the arm bone in its socket. Notice there's 3 movements in the shoulder. First, there's elevation. Then there's rotation of the arm bone in its socket. And then there's protraction in towards the midline. Can you see those 3 actions? When I come out of it, I return through, out of big retraction, scapular depression, and then we're back here. Elevate, rotate, protract in towards the midline. Really try to isolate those shoulder actions, and then once you've got it dialed, you can add a diagonal squat, and notice this opposite hand is turning in opposite direction to create that fascial tension through the wingspan. Elevate, rotate, screw the shoulder down, turn the other shoulder in the opposite direction, and unscrew. I've taken this even a little further to start to feel the transition in my mid-back, like this, as I'm transitioning from shoulder to shoulder. So there's this little wave that happens here, and continuous motion to start to mobilize the fascia in my mid-back. Those are some neck mobility drills and some shoulder mobility drills that you can start with to really start isolating specific areas and releasing bound fascia. I hope you found this helpful, and I hope to see you at one of our events and seminars or in our online community.